Hey everyone, it's Bradley. Welcome back to my channel, Portly Gentleman. It's great to have you with me here today. Today's video is gonna be grain to glass. That's right, all the way down. I'm gonna taste a beer at the end of this video. It's been an awful long time since I brewed grain to glass. Today, I'm also going to be brewing on the BrewZilla 65 liter. The premise for today's video is, well, it's a really honest one. I'm out of time, I'm pretty lazy, and I need to brew an Octoberfest. So what I did was I went on More Beer's website, I ordered up an Octoberfest kit, as well as some yeast, had it shipped to my house. That took about a day, and it arrived, and then I brewed it. Full disclosure, More Beer isn't sponsoring this video. They don't even realize I'm making it until you see it, is when they're gonna see it. I bought the kit on my own. More Beer's really great. I do choose to plug them. That's just my own choice because I really believe in them. Without further ado, let's jump into the video. Research it, mash it, boil it, ferment it, drink it, analyze it, share it. Home brewing is good. Let's take a look at everything you get in the kit box itself. It comes with all of the base grains, as well as a pack of specialty grains and hops, some More Beer propaganda. Here's that pack with the hops and the specialty malts that are already milled. I have obviously added a pack of lutra to this one. It doesn't come with lutra, but you can pick your yeast, and dried yeast is just easy to work with. Here it is all laid out on the table. Next, it's time to get the BrewZilla ready. My BrewZilla is fully set up. I have the diffuser plate in the bottom. Just wanted to show that off. Drop that down in there, just kind of with a thread that goes in. Then it's time to start looking at collecting your brewing water. I am using reverse osmosis water as always that I have here, a good supply of in the brewery. Right now I am checking for an update. I've found with the BrewZilla that if there's an update and you don't check right away, it's really persistent and it can mess up a whole brew day. I'm sure they can fix this in software, so before I fire it up, I always make sure I'm up to date and ready to brew. I have decided to stretch the volume on this particular batch. I'm making more than 5 gallons. I want a little less gravity because last year we got pretty hammered, and this year I want to be able to drink a little more without getting so super drunk, so I'm making it myself this time. Next, it's time to look at one of the most important things, and something that isn't included in recipe kits, and I really wish they would make this an option, is water salts for water modification. It's so important. I really wish this stuff was included in a base kit. Here I am getting my salts all weighed out. I'm not going to share what I'm doing water-wise because, like I said, since I stretched it out, I made some modifications to the water profile I was using, and here we are just looking, we're heating up. I'm at full power there. Just gonna add all the salts. This is some Epsom salt, chucking in there. If you like my stainless steel measuring spoons, there will be a link below where you could check those out and get them for yourself. They're really handy. We're getting kind of full, nearly 10 gallons. Like I said, I am stretching it. Last but not least, here's a little acid. Gonna get everything to the right pH. With that, it's time to put all of my water salts back up on the shelf for next brew day and start mixing up the water salts into my water. I usually just take a dip and then I will take my stir spoon and just agitate the hell out of it. I try and make sure stuff gets combined, but it's not gonna be perfect, and I'm quite frankly pretty impatient. Now just swish that around and dump it into the BrewZilla. Next up, we're gonna drop in the mash tun or malt pipe or whatever you wanna call it. This one goes in just like any other. Just drop it in there and you are good to go. The next step, obviously, we are gonna dough in. I'm gonna dump the grain bill in. I do prefer to go pretty slowly. You know, I've messed around and done it in a hurry or slower. With a volume like this, only 5 gallons or more than 5 gallons in a 65 liter vessel, I have lots of room. So there we are, just gonna stir this in. I do really take my time and stir. Maybe it's just I find it relaxing. I think it does help with efficiency to make sure you have no clumps and everything is broken up. So just give it a good stir. Obviously at this point you're making sure that your temperature is on target. Drop the lid on, but there's one little device with the BrewZilla I'm going to use. I'm using the BlueTooth temperature controller. I'll get that out in a moment and show you how that works. Man, there's only a couple of companies that use something like this. Kegland wasn't the first, but their implementation, at least widely available to regular consumers for this, is the best. So here we are, just turning down the power slightly. I do not feel the need to boil or mash at full power with this small of a volume. It definitely has the horsepower to get me through whatever I'm gonna do. Next up, I power on the Bluetooth temperature beacon. This guy is wireless. I just drop it in there. You know, there's various hot spots and cold spots within the mash. It's normal, but I find that this really does help in this system, and it's a key highlight feature for me. It pairs super easy. I just find it in there. You hit the enter button and then back out of the menu, and you'll see that it is connected, instantly reading a temperature. Now the system is gonna heat and go off of that sensor this whole time, man. It is just the way to go. You're free to move that around. You don't have to adjust it yourself. It does it all for you. It's super slick. Now look at that mash, man. It is just looking beautiful. It smells amazing at this point. Recirculation with this volume again is really super simple. I'm using the spike table for this one. I've been testing it. Been really happy with it for a system of this size. The BrewZilla fits perfectly. Just mashing away is pretty kind of standard, boring mash, but it's still a little satisfying, and it's a critical step. Take your time, take your gravity readings and all that stuff. Have you subscribed yet? Please consider it. Now it's time to hit mash out. I bump it to my desired mash out temperature and just wait a few minutes to hit that, and then there we are, mash out, just even clearer and just looking so sexy. Mash out is just about complete. Next up, it'll be time here to pull this malt pipe out of the system. And there it is, a nice, decent lift of that. It's got these first step, makes it really convenient to lift manually. I let this guy drain until it's a little bit lighter and frankly a little bit easier to manipulate manually. I just simply pick it up and adjust it and go on those bottom legs and let everything drip down. I find if I lift it too soon, I do have wort escaping from these side holes. It's a side effect of them. You can make a little bit of a sticky mess if you lift it too soon or if you're sparging very aggressively. Obviously this is a no sparge brew day, but there are those holes. It's not a big deal, but like I said, it's just if you're OCD like me, it's something to keep in mind. With all the power on tap and the volume of this kit, it's hitting that boil temperature very quickly, and it was boiling before I know it, just boiling right away. Interestingly, I didn't have a ton of protein and everything. This was a full 90-minute boil on this guy. I've also got the Pro lid for this thing and the steam condenser. In my brewery, I'm set up only for condensing, and this is the suction of that, holds on that plastic cap. I wish this cap had a handle. It gets a little hot. I think they should make a little nubbin for it. But it definitely works, and like I said, the suction holds it on. The kegland condenser is really good, but wait for my full review. Time for the first hop addition. That's 60 minutes. Please excuse my horrible writing. This will be a good one, Key, to throw a nubbin on there. I put a screw in it, but that's actually not a bad idea. That would get hot. But there's got to be something that can be done. I'd also love to see a clear one, to be honest. Breezing right through the brew day. Next, it's time for the Whirlflock tablet and yeast nutrient. That yeast nutrient isn't included in the kits. I don't know why they don't include it. It's really useful and important in my opinion. I wish they would consider making the kits more fully complete. There we are. It's just about time for that 1 minute hop addition. So we'll go ahead and get that ready for the last little kind of 1 minute. I actually boiled a little bit longer in this one because I am using a jaded hydro chiller. I find it works really well. I'm going to start switching over to counterflow for this. With this kind of lid in the condenser, it's just hard to get a chiller through there and make it all work, at least to get it all cleaned up. But here mine is, I have it kind of suspended off the bottom a little bit. I'll go into detail in my full review about why I'm doing that. But you can see it just knocking that out. Look at that. As we go past, it's just blowing temperature off of the wort. It's super efficient. Especially at these higher temperatures. My groundwater is pretty warm right now, to be honest. There we are, just chilling out. We'll call it a kind of a little ghetto whirlpool. I haven't tried the Whirlpool arm yet. I'd love to give it a try, but this definitely worked fine, especially with that false bottom. Transferring into my Brew Tools MiniUmi for fermentation. You can see I made a little bit of a mess on here. Wish I would have captured that on camera. Now it's time to chuck in the yeast. This is obviously lutra. Like I said, I'm under a time crunch here. I want to get this beer out. I don't have time for a traditional lager, nor do I want to mess around with a pressure lager. So just dump in the lutra, and then I get ready and chuck it in the fermentation chamber, but not before dropping in my favorite wireless hydrometer. That spray bottle is also linked below. It's super sweet. I forgot just how fast and aggressive lutra can be. man, it chewed through this wort like nobody's business. I obviously this obviously a bit day later, this footage, but man, it just blew down that temperature super quick in my fermentation chamber. Initially, I didn't do any type of pressurized fermentation. Like I said, I just let it vent out through the top and used the kegland fittings to get everything dialed in the way I wanted it. But man, the information that's available here on this screen and online is just second to none. It's really good for logging batches. I really, really like it. At this point, I chilled down to my kind of resting temperature for a little bit of a pressurization here, about 10 PSI, and let the beer kind of condition slightly. Then it was time to go ahead and pull a sample. Pulled it with the mini tap. Man, these things are super sweet. If you haven't seen them yet, we'll be looking at these in a future video. But yeah, it was time to pull a sample. And this sample, man, once you see this guy pulled, it is just a beautiful looking beer. This More Beer kit is quite surprising, actually. And these little taps pull a beautiful sample. All right, without further ado, here it is. And the color on this guy is just, let me see if we can get some more light over here for you. The color is about what I wanted. It's not perfectly clear yet. I think it's gonna get there. I didn't really do any kind of fining on this. Nothing like that, nothing for chill phase, no chill haze, no biofine. It's just a real deal Lutra beer. What does it taste like? Oh, it's cold. It's light, guys. This beer is about 4.5%. The kit calls for definitely a much, stronger beer. I think it can make up to 6%. I've stretched it because I don't want something that's gonna get me super destroyed. At 4%, it's like a session beer. The hops for me actually work right in the kit. I do think it's good. Is this gonna pass for a lager? Some will tell you that these Lutra pseudo lagers do. Me knowing what it is, I can't say that it passes for a real lager, but it's really close. This one, I fermented it about 68 degrees, I think, 67. And there's, it doesn't have that lagery kind of smell you're looking for, but it also doesn't have any sort of lemonness, at least that I can detect. And I know that's been a thing in some Lutra beers I've made before. So this one, I don't detect it, but it's good. It'll definitely get the job done. The BrewZilla did great. Yeah, I have made beer. Surprise! All right, everyone, so thank you for watching. That's kind of a taste of a brew day on the BrewZilla. There is a full review coming. There's more brew day content on the way. If you guys enjoy brew day videos from me, please like, subscribe, and comment. If you comment, like, and subscribe, I will produce more of them if it's what you guys want. So as always, remember, home brewing is good. I'll see you real soon. Now's a good time to subscribe, like, and comment.